Welcome to the Unlist. Today we're talking about essential oils. And the reason why I want to talk about them is as my knowledge and interest in perfumery has blossomed into that of a hobbyist, I have dipped my toes in collecting and utilizing essential oils, which can also become building blocks for making alcohol-based perfume. But there's a bit of a danger involved with that, which is why I'm making a video about it. And that's, you just can't arbitrarily go into any place that carries essential oils, like a head shop or an old-fashioned apothecary or mystic store that has things related to witchcraft and other types of, more spiritual practices. And a lot of these places will carry essential oils in one form or another, or they'll also have some mixes where they create custom fragrances out of the oils they carry, things like Kush, for example. But you just can't go slinging those in alcohol and build a commercial perfume out of them, because unfortunately not all essential oils are created equal. And if you can't verify the source of your oils, there could be other things adulterating those oils. They may not be purely that one compound. They might be in a medium of some kind, right? That medium could be jojoba oil or something else. And none of that stuff really meshes well with perfumer's alcohol. So I am not a perfumer, so I can't tell you how to build a proper perfume, right? I can't instruct you on how to create your own perfumes, but I can say with certainty, if you're going to play with essential oils, unless you're buying them directly from a perfumer's supply house, right, like a Pell Wall or something like that, chances are you don't want to start combining those in alcohol and go down this misguided journey of building your own fragrances, because it's not going to end well. So before I get into that, though, let's talk about essential oils just by themselves. Wearing them, enjoying them, maybe mixing them and creating simple little cocktails that you can wear in place of alcohol perfume when the mood strikes you. So let's get a little into it. Now, my experience with essential oils is, because I'm not buying from a perfume supplier, again, I'm not buying from Pell Wall or something like that, I'm finding my stuff at the head shops, at the mystic stores, at the apothecaries. And there's kind of three different categories for these oils. The first one is true actual essential oil, where it's just the material itself, right? So lavender essential oil, vetiver essential oil, things like that. Those are going to be very close to, if not identical to, actual perfumers supply vetiver, perfumers supply lavender, etc., etc. The problem is, again, you don't know exactly what species of lavender it is, what species of vetiver it is, because it's just going to be in a little tube, a little cap, and it's going to have vetiver written on it in like magic marker or something, a silver magic pen or whatever. So you don't know exactly what type of vetiver. Is it Javanese? Is it bourbon vetiver? Is it Haitian vetiver, right? You don't know what kind of lavender it is. Is it English lavender, French lavender, lavandin, spikenard, right? You don't know. There's no provenance, there's no paperwork. It's just a little $7, $15, or $20 bottle of oil that smells like what it's supposed to smell like. And that's it. Those are probably the closest you're going to get to perfume materials. They are the most analogous to perfume materials, right? Bergamot oil, things like that. But even then, they could still be cut with something. They could still be adulterated, because when you look at the actual pure certified naturals that are sold at perfume supply houses, they are very, very expensive, right? The same quantity of oil you'd buy from one of them is exponentially more expensive than that little $7 bottle of bergamot oil or whatever lavender that you're getting from the head shop. So that right there tells you something is up. Now, I'm not saying that you get what you pay for, and we go down this whole rabbit hole of, well, is the $500 perfume worth it over the $50 perfume, and all of that bullshit, all of that snobby, we've already had that discussion to death. Those are commercial perfumes. They're made with aroma chemicals. They're made with some naturals. They are cut and diluted with alcohol. You get 1% materials maybe at most. The rest is alcohol, whatever, right? The rest is brass caps and etched plates and felt inside the boxes and all that bullshit. So, but if we're talking raw materials do have a little more leeway towards the price is right. They have a little more leeway towards getting what you pay for because they are raw materials. They are being harvested somewhere. They are being processed somewhere. And they are being sent to you. And obviously, if they're slinging bottles of lavender essential oil or whatever, rose geranium, they're slinging bottles of that oil to these head shops who are going to sell it for 15 bucks. They're not going to put so much pure essence in that bottle that they're going to rip themselves off, right? They're going to make a hefty margin, so they're going to cut that. They're going to adulterate that. And that's why I say sometimes you get jojoba oil in there or something else, another medium that can mask any said adulteration and mask any said dilution and still smell good. So when you undo the cap and you smell it, you go, oh, lavender, right? And if you're just putting it on the back of your neck, or if you're putting it in a little oil burner and lighting it with a candle, you're doing that sort of thing, that's fine. That $7 bergamot oil, $15 lavender, that is fine, okay? Because you're not making a commercial perfume out of that. You can try. I mean, I'm not saying not to. I'm just saying if you go to a pot shop or something that has hippie paraphernalia, or you find like a Wiccan store that has crystals and stuff, and you buy a bunch of those essential oils, then you begin mixing them together, and then you try to cut it with alcohol and make a perfume out of it. Don't come crying to me if it separates, if it falls apart, if you end up smelling like a third-rate, seventh son of a seventh son VHS copy of some Arrange L'Adore perfume or something that just smells like brown. You open it and you spray it and it smells like brown, or it just separates, right, in the bottle. You make trash, basically. Don't come crying to me if you make trash, because those things are not graded, not designed to be used as professional commercial perfume materials. They're just meant to be used really in and of themselves and enjoyed. Now, what you can do, especially if you're buying them all from the same shop, right? Chances are, if they're being cut and adulterated, they're being done that at the shop. So it's going to be the same medium across all of them, right? If they've got like a big rack of like 50 of them, okay? And you buy them all from there, they can safely mix with each other. So you can make a custom oil blend for yourself out of what's available. That's a little bit like Lego block perfumery at that point. You're doing like the Little Tikes or Fisher-Price version of making perfume, because you're taking, a handful of different oils, and you can try and measure out how many parts, 2 drops of this, 1 drop of that. You can get as in the weeds with that as you want, of course, but you can make some pretty fun stuff that way. I know I have. I've concocted very simple fougere accords from essential oils by getting a lavender oil, by getting a bergamot oil, getting a patchouli, a tonka. Oak moss oil is really expensive because, all the restrictions on oak moss now, you don't really find oak moss essential oil anymore. Even a little bottle will cost you like a lot of money, more than you're willing to spend. You can get an oak moss scented oil, but that's category 2. We're still on category 1, which is the essential oils, or the things being peddled as essential oils. Like I said, not coming from an official perfume supply house, so can't verify the purity of it. But you can bash them together and make a nice fougere accord. I've done it. A little bit of vanilla in there, right? I've kind of made my own little version of Jicky, actually, sort of, with this sort of thing. and it smells pretty close. I've also made my own little version of Givenchy vetiver, eau de vetiver. I've taken bergamot oil. I have taken vetiver oil, mix them together. Just those two things, and bergamot oil and vetiver oil together on your skin. If it's a good vetiver, the bergamot, you'd be surprised how close to Givenchy vetiver it actually gets. I mean, a little oak moss would make it better, but again, can't really get that. So yeah, there's some stuff you can do, right? You can have a little bit of fun with essential oils. But like I said, they're not the pure perfumery grade materials. Because here's the thing, guys. Some of the natural materials used in perfumery aren't presented as oil. They're not all oil. Some of them are concretes, okay? Some of them are in alcohol. They're tinctures, okay? They're tinctures in alcohol. Some of them are solids, and you've got to cook them yourself and break them down. Like I was talking about how ambergris usually has to be cooked down, you know, and ambroxan crystals, which is synthetic, but same thing, has to be cooked down, has to be dissolved. It's a solid, okay? So when you're playing with actual perfume materials, whether it's synthetic or natural, typically not going to come in these little oils, right? So some of them, yes, not all of them. Now, if you're going to play with essential oils, just as they are, like I said, you're going to get them from a head shop, you're going to get them from an apothecary, or you're going to get them from a mystic store that has, like, you know, stuff like prayer beads and whatnot, incense, different things. What I would do is, you don't know how strong or how pure they're going to smell, right? So you want to be very, very careful with them. You want to just do a tiny little, I take my finger and put it over the bottle. Just cover the hole and go like this. Just get it on my finger. And now put it on the back of my neck. Not up here near my face, but just back here. See how it smells. With it behind me, right? See how it diffuses its way around. And if it smells good, might do a little more. If it has any kind of longevity, again, I kind of call into question, because some materials are not fixatives. So if you put an essential oil of like lavender on your skin, for example, and it dries down and has a fixative smell to it, like you can smell a sustaining note, it's probably not pure. It's probably got something else in it. You know, actual, real lavender essential oil, the pure stuff, which I do have some of, by the way, it actually fades pretty quickly on your skin. Your skin eats it because it's got linalool in it. It's got a clean note to it. It's got that aromatic smell, but it has nothing to really anchor it. So once you get a good lavender blast for like 30 minutes to an hour maybe, lavender essential oil more or less disappears. It needs something else to carry it, which is why they build fougere cords. It needs a tonka. It needs an oak moss. It needs something else to keep it there, to elevate it and keep it on your skin. But it's fun to play with, though. Like I said, it smells good. You know, you can mix it with a bunch of other essential oils too. Two of my favorite combinations are actually sandalwood oil with lavender essential oil on top of it, and then bergamot oil on top of that. And that's it. Just bergamot oil, lavender oil, sandalwood oil. Those three together in a sandwich. Back of my neck. Smells good. You know, very basic, very like 1500s perfumery, right? Back in the days when it was all oil anyway. Pretty good. Now the second category, the second thing. These are what I call aromatic oils. They're not essential oils because they're not claiming to be the ingredient and just the ingredient in some medium. Like I said, sometimes they're cut. No, these are the essential oil equivalent of artificial flavoring. They are the essential oil equivalent of making a smell without having large quantities, sustainable quantities of the material, right? And this is what you find for really expensive ingredients, right? Head shops, apothecaries, they want to carry an ambergris, right? They want to carry a rose, a Turkish rose. They want to carry a sandalwood. But what's the problem with those materials, right? What's the problem? You already know. I don't have to tell you. Ambergris is exorbitantly expensive, and if you're going to find an ambergris essential oil, it's going to cost you hundreds of dollars, possibly more, right? You find a Turkish rose oil that's pure, right? For one, real Turkish rose absolute is so thick, it's like tar dripping down the container. You can't really wear that, all right? It's not really practical to wear. So if you get an oil that's slick enough to be moved around your fingers, that's cut, my dude. That is cut. There's something in that. Otherwise, it would be tar. So they may contain some ambergris or some rose or some sandalwood, but they are built up with other materials. And in some cases, they are completely synthetic, right? I asked the local store that I get my oils from, I said, what is in this ambergris oil? It smells good. It smells fantastic, okay? It does. It smells like ambergris. So if you like that breathy, salty, halitosis, oceanic vibe, this would be good oil for you to buy. I would recommend it. But he's like, it's synthetic, man. He's like, we can't source and stock real ambergris here. He's like, that would cost someone's weekly pay, you know, someone's paycheck. They're not going to buy that. We would get robbed and someone would break in here and steal it. Anyway, if we stocked it, if they knew it was real, it'd be on eBay the next day. You know, it would hit the streets of Seattle and get sold for pills or something. Okay, it gets sold for fentanyl. So it's not going to work. You can't do that. So it's synthetic. And a lot of those things are synthetic. It's okay. Their sandalwood oils are, for the most part, synthetic. And they have a different, they have a variety of different kinds. The one I go to, right, which is called, by the way, for those of you who want to know where I'm getting my oils from, it's a place in Pike Place Market called Tenzing Momo. Okay, Tenzing Momo and Pike Place Market, they have a lot of good stuff. Good incense, good soaps, good oils. They have raw materials. They do have raw materials. You can buy pieces of oak moss from this store. They sell it. They have a jar with oak moss in it. But then you got to make your own, you know, you got to make your own tincture out of that, right? So if I really wanted oak moss, I could get and just buy a chunk of it from the store and then make it myself. But again, I'm not a perfumer. I don't have that equipment. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm just saying that's what you kind of have to do, right? And he's like, yeah, the sandalwood oils are not real. They might be partially real, right? They might have different species of sandalwood oil in them that's not Santal albumin. So they might have Chinese sandalwood oil. They might have New Caledonian sandalwood oil or something like that. But he's like, you're not going to get a Mysore. He's like, nope. He's like, the actual sandalwood oil smell that most people think of when they come in there, like that particular sandalwood smell, he's like, yeah, we haven't had that for years. He's like, because that store's been there for a very long time. So he's like, yeah, we haven't had the legit sandalwood in forever. It's just too expensive. And we all know why, right? We all know why. But these, these aromatic oils, they also work. They serve the same purpose as essential oils. If you're just playing around with oils, guys, you're just playing around, who cares if it's got polysanthol in it or not? Who cares if it's got Javanol in it? All right? If it's an oil and it smells good and it works for what you want, it's going to be cheap as chips. So just go ahead and buy it, 10 bucks, whatever. Play around with it. Mix it with the lavender, mix it with the bergamot, do whatever you want. Have fun. It's worth playing with. It's worth playing with. Then the last category is going to be the basically fully made fragrance oils, right? They are not essential oils because they're not base materials. They are not aromatic oils because they're not mock-ups of base materials. Like I said, mock-up of ambergris, mock-up of rose. These fragrance oils, category 3, they are just whatever. And they probably contain synthetics. They probably contain ISO-E and ambroxan and, hydroxycitronellol and other forms of synthetics because they are fragrance oils. They are a fully made fragrance composition that's been placed in oil instead of alcohol. They are in oil instead of alcohol. And you will see some of those too. They will have names like, Egyptian Dream and Aztec Nightmare and, you know, Elysian Fields and blah, 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 blah. They'll have these names, Hindi Empire or something like that. And they have these really dreamy, like mystical names, right? And then they smell good. Very common ones you'll find are like Hindu Kush is a common one, or Kush is a common one. I've seen Babylon. I've seen fragrance oils called Babylon. They always have these ancient, like, civilization names, these ancient themes. You know, they always harken back to the Middle East, or they harken back to some point in ancient human history, and that's where they theme most of these, you know. So it's always Egypt or Babylon or something, or King Solomon or whoever, and they're good, you know. There's a certain vibe, a certain aesthetic, like I said. Sometimes with this last category, these fragrance oils, when I smell them, I think, okay, where's the blacklight poster? Where is my tie-dye shirt? Where's my lava lamp? Let me get my original gatefold vinyl of Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Where's that? All right. So you can eat an edible, sit back, watch the blacklight poster, listen to Dark Side of the Moon, and have my, like, Aztec Empire essential oil on, and then have some incense burning in the background. And we can just play like it's 1973 or 4 all over again. We can just do that. It'll be great. But not everybody wants that, though. That's a very specific vibe. So if you're not looking for that vibe, if you're not looking to smell like you live in a van down by the river, okay, the little Grateful Dead bears on the side of your van, you're not trying to be Dan the Van Man, okay, you're trying to avoid that vibe, then don't go for those. Stay away from those. Stick with the essentials, stick with the aromatics, and you'll be good. But that's it. That's the breakdown, man. You want to know what essential oils are all about? If they are not certified perfume materials, like I said, they're not coming from a reputable dealer that deals to perfumers in the industry, then they are probably cut. But they can still be a lot of fun. And honestly, I'd rather see you go to a local head shop. I'd rather see you go to a local Mystic store and play around with those than get the garbage that you can find at, like, AC Moore or Michaels or Joanne Fabrics. They've got oils too, guys, and those are complete garbage. So if I find out any of y'all are fucking with some Joanne Fabrics oils, I'm gonna come to your house and smack you. I'm gonna be like, so I heard you had the Joanne Fabrics oils, and then I'll be like, and then I'm gonna get you some proper oils, and then shake your hand and hope you don't press charges on me for, you know, home invasion and assault on you. But gotta set you straight, though. Gotta set you straight. Can't let you have the AC Moore, the Joanne Fabrics oils. Those are like the most garbagey tier of the worst, trashy, apocalyptic, end of the world type of garbage you will find. They are literally just manufactured for, like, empty nester, former homemakers who all they have to look forward to in life is a mimosa and watching The View and popping a Xanax, maybe drinking some box wine, listening to Rosie O'Donnell, you know, reruns of her old show or whatever. And then you sit there and they bash some oils together and complain about why the kids don't visit anymore. That's the only person that has that kind of stuff, not you guys. So that's essential oils. Catch you next time.